All right, we had some hellacious storms move through yesterday. They continued into this morning, so I'm getting a really late start today. It's already 1 o'clock. Skies have cleared, as you can see. We've got a pretty brisk west wind, and that's made the water really dirty. So I'm gonna have my work cut out for me today, but I'm gonna see if I can make it happen in this dirty water. Come along with me. All right, with that sun high, I'm not necessarily looking to throw a fast moving bait, not just yet. So I'm starting with this Red Fog Pro's Choice soft stick bait on a 1/4 ounce death grip jig head. Since this water's off, I mean, it's really off. I got about maybe 10 inches visibility at most. I like that red fog color. It just shows up well in that kind of dark stained water. It's got a good falling tide right now. I certainly like that. I'm in a windy bayou that drains a pond. It's kind of why I came here, hoping the water would be pretty coming out of that pond. And it's the prettiest water around, but you would never say it's pretty. This bayou is grass lined, fairly small bayou. It doesn't have tremendous depth. I'm in a bend here and it's 4 feet. So fishable, but not ideal. Well, it's 5 feet now. I'll take that. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell how off this water is. It's really not nice. Sooner or later, these west winds are gonna turn around. They have to. But man, it's been blowing like this for 6 weeks or so. It's been a while. Just part of the deal. You got to either figure out how to catch fish in dirty water or figure out how to find clean water. I prefer to do the latter. Look at this beautiful bend here. Man, look at that. If we had some pretty water, that would be a spot that would probably hold some speckled trout. We got 6 foot depth right here. I'm sure it's a lot deeper right there. That's a beautiful bend. We're definitely gonna make a few casts just to see, but I feel better if the water looked better. There's another beautiful bend. The last one produced nothing. Maybe we'll get luckier in this one. This one's also got a nice cut adjacent to it. So we'll hit all that. This water's cleaning up. You can tell it wants to, just not there yet. Might need this tide to fall a little bit longer. All right, I'm gonna give this H&H freshwater jig spinner with a 1/4 ounce death grip jig head and shrimp creole matrix shad a few casts. The water's gotten better. And this bait is just a redfish, bass, and speckled trout killer. They all love it. So it's a great search bait to throw when you don't care what you're gonna catch. Just looking for bites. That's what I'm looking for, is bites. Water's gotten substantially better. Ooh, something hit me. Dadgummit. Right next to the boat. Oh, there's a fish. I think that's a redfish. Yeah, I'd say that's a redfish. All right. I'd say it's a big redfish. Beautiful. You can see that water's getting cleaner just by how well you can see that fish. Not a surprise that we caught him in that cleaner water, or at least hooked him. We haven't caught him yet. All right, let's get this net. Ooh, he's got a very, very blue tail. That's a good sign. All right, swam right in my net. Thank you, bud. That's about, I don't know, 19-inch red or so. Probably not net worthy, but that freshwater jig spinner isn't really designed for redfish, so you really got to net a lot of these fish. All right, first fish of the day. Broke the ice. Probably about a 20-inch redfish. Actually, I think I'm going to keep this fish. I do want some fish for dinner, and he'd be a good one. So as you can see, that fish really mangled our freshwater jig spinner. I don't mind. I kind of expect it. I know it's gonna happen. I've just got so much confidence in this thing producing fish that whenever it happens, if I have to change it, I just change it. This one looks to be okay though. Really hard to believe how beautiful this water's gotten. That's what I was hoping would happen at the backside of where this pond is draining. Haven't made it to the pond yet, but we're getting closer. Water's just spectacular now. All this water eventually filtered down through that bayou. And I bet that bayou produced fish later in the day. Just saw my first bass, 1, 2, mixed in with a school of mullet. Ooh, there's a red. Oh, look at that, a bass came up and hit it. Look at that. All right, nice bass. Man, that red swam behind some grass. I threw in that area. Watch this bass hit it. Amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. I love this place. That was awesome. That was flat out awesome. Felt a pang of disappointment because the redfish got away. And I got to watch that bass come up and smoke it. As you might imagine, that red was lit up like a Christmas tree, man. He was beautiful. Man, you ought to see the fry in the water. Look at this. No telling what it is, but it definitely could be bass fry. I mean, just a ton. All right, that redfish tells me I really need to get something weedless in case I see another one. Let me see what I can dig up. All right, I got a matrix craw. I don't know what color this is. I have no idea. I'm terrible at remembering colors, but I want something I can see in the water. If I had a white, I'd throw that, but I don't have any. Okay, that pond is dead ahead. Let's hope there's some fish right at the mouth of it. It may shallow up too much there, but we'll see. Take our time getting there though. Hopefully we'll run across another red. The wind has really picked up. Makes it tough to see them. All right, we kind of lost our depth, so we gotta work our way back down this bayou. And you know, that's kind of the bad thing with fishing bayous as opposed to ponds. The pond, you can make a big circle and fish new water the whole time. Man, look at this gar. Look at this guy. With these bayous, you gotta fish already fished water. Not to say we couldn't run across a fish, but it's a whole lot less likely. I remember when I came in here, 7.5 feet right here, just crazy, just like a little ditch. Gotta jig that real quick. We're gonna blow right over it, but make a couple casts at least. Oh, shoot. 7 feet right here, just hard to believe. No bites, but man, you come here on the right day, that would be a place to mine. Oh, a fish. Bass? I think bass. Nope, speckled trout. Speckled trout. That's another slam. I thought there might be some trout in here. Sure enough. He's not big, but he's definitely a keeper. Dude, settle down. Oh, yeah, you were hooked well. Let's see how big you are. Oh, yeah, he's almost 13. A beast. Oh, another trout. Oh, dadgummit, that was a beautiful trout. That was a beautiful trout. Oh man, I hate losing that fish. I mean, by beautiful, I mean about 15, 16 inches. Not a giant, but you're not gonna catch real giants in the marsh this time of year. And everything is relative. So all I'm doing now that I know there's some trout in this, oh shoot. Now that I know there's some trout in this bayou is just casting in these bends, letting the spinnerbait fall. You know, it's 4 to 5 feet in these bends and just kind of running it along the bottom. Oh, it's a shrimp. A little tiny shrimp. That's good to see. Little brown shrimp. Oh, a flounder freaking hit me. I saw him plain as day. He hit me twice. I dropped it, and then he missed it again. Ah, it was not a big flounder, but that would have completed the slam. Oh, goodness. So great to see. I'm so happy to see all these flounder. Been catching a lot more of them lately. I'd say I've been catching one flounder at least on 50% of my trips. Now, I mentioned everything hits this bait. Speckled trout, redfish, bass, flounder. But one other fish hits it that you don't necessarily want, and that's needlefish. There's a million in this bayou. So I'm getting hit on a lot of my casts, but they're not necessarily anything I want. And you can watch them. When you get the bait close, they'll come up and just peck the blade. It's usually a distinctive hit. You can usually tell it from other fish, but not always. There's another one. All right, time to go see what else we can find. So this is a fun bayou. Better than I anticipated when I first got in here, so that's good. Let's see what else we can find. All right, I'm not sure if you can see that, but we got a marked color change right here. Water draining out of this backwater marsh. So I'm gonna duck in here real quick, see if I can find some fish. It's not beautiful water coming out of there, it's just a lot better than this. Coming up on the color change right here. Couple of Trinasses right here. One here, one there. For new viewers, Trinasse is a marsh drain. Great places to fish on a falling tide. 1 out of every 20 produces or so. But sometimes you can just load the boat at one of them. That's probably better than that. Maybe 1 out of 10 produces. Ooh, nice bass, look at that. That's a nice bass. All right. You truly just don't know what you're gonna catch. You just don't. That could have been a red, could have been a trout, could have been a flounder, but it was a bass. Just love these fish. They're so beautiful. Fat, just so spunky. That dude's definitely been eating something. Love these guys. All right, really fun, short, midday trip today. Some pretty challenging conditions. Fought some dirty water early, found some good water, brisk west wind, and you know, that high sun, of course. Fishing is always best on the edges of the day, first thing in the morning, last thing in the afternoon. Particularly this time of year, I start doing a whole lot of fishing in the afternoon, but I got a meeting this evening I have to go attend, so unfortunately I got to call it a trip. Hot bait of the day, no question about it, was this H&H Gold Spinner. It's the number 4 freshwater jig spinner. You've heard me talk about it a lot if you're a regular viewer. This thing is made with really, really soft wire. Very, very flexible. That's what makes it so good. It also causes it to break. It's not designed to catch redfish. They do make baits that are designed to catch redfish. I just find this one to be the most productive by far for not only redfish, but also bass, speckled trout, and also a host of other species. Of course, I got this one teamed with a 1/4 ounce depth grip jig head and a shrimp creole matrix shad. It's kind of my go-to. I do change here and there, but that's the one I'm gonna start with. A couple of keys for catching fish on this bait. Number 1 is rod. This is a 6' 9" Guide Select from Okuma, and it's a medium power rod. That's definitely the strongest I would recommend if you're fishing braided line. Really, with braid, you can even get away with medium light. You don't want anything heavier than that for a couple of reasons. Number 1, we talked about it, the soft nature of this wire. If you got too stiff of a rod with line that doesn't stretch, you're gonna be more inclined to break this and lose your fish. Also, if you're targeting bass, they're masters at throwing a hook, you know that, and you just don't have a lot of give with that braided line if you have a really stiff rod. So medium light to medium. This again is a medium, works well for me. I really like this combo. I've got it tied to 12-pound fluoro, about a 6-foot leader, and the rest of it is 30-pound braid. Something else you want to keep in mind if you're fishing in an area that has bass, you want to throw as close to that shoreline or the edge of that aquatic vegetation as you can. That's where you're going to get most of your bites, at least for the bass. Now the speckled trout and the redfish, they'll definitely hit you off that bank, but those bass almost always hit right as that bait hits the water, so throw as close to the bank as you can. Literally, sometimes if you're just a foot off, you're not gonna get any bites. If you're within that 1 foot range, you're gonna get a bunch of bites. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed the video as much as I did putting it together. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the Marshman Masson channel on YouTube, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so we notify whenever we post a new video. And until next time, if we don't see you in the marsh, we'll see you right here on Marshman Masson. And hopefully that time, we can fish all the way until dark.